You're up, Commissioner.
All right, Board of County Commissioners are in session now. I'd ask for a motion to go into the BOE.
Mr. Chair, I'd make a motion that we go into the Board of Equalization.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Everyone that is going to participate in a 9 o'clock hearing will have the deputy clerk swear you in.
If you'll please stand and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that any testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes.
Thank you. So this is the process, and this is what's going on here today. This is a hearing of the Board of Equalization under Idaho Code 63501. The Board of County Commissioners is required to convene as the BOE. We are here to determine market value under Idaho Code 63205. All real, personal, and operating property subject to property taxation must be assessed annually at market value for assessment purposes as of 12:01 a.m. of the first day of January in the year in which such property taxes are levied. Furthermore, under Idaho Code 63502, the function of the Board of Equalization shall be confined strictly to assuring that the market value for assessment purposes of property has been found by the assessor, and to the functions provided for in Chapter 6, Title 63, Idaho Code relating to the exemptions from taxation. It is hereby made the duty of the Board of Equalization to enforce and compel a proper classification and assessment of all property required under the provisions of this title to be entered on the property rolls. And in so doing, the Board of Equalization shall examine the rolls and shall raise or cause to be raised or lower or cause to be lowered the assessment of any property in which in the judgment of the Board has not been properly assessed. The taxpayer shall have the burden of proof in seeking affirmative relief to establish that the determination of the assessor is erroneous, including any determination of assessed value. A preponderance of evidence shall be sufficient to sustain the burden of proof. We're here to discuss the market value of the property, the condition, state, or information that is relevant to this topic. This is fact, not conjecture or things that you may think. We are not here to discuss taxes, past grievances, policy, personal income, or other issues. If you do not stick to the discussion as requested, your time will be reclaimed. The hearing will go as follows. The property owner will be given 3 minutes, and the white light will come on at that time. When the yellow light goes off, it means you have a minute left. When the red light goes off, your time is up. We'll answer some questions if there are questions, and then the assessor's table will be given 3 minutes. And then we'll have the appellant ask questions about what the assessor states at this time. There's no new evidence brought forward. It's the evidence that you've submitted. The rules are be kind, direct all questions or comments to the board. If your conduct is out of line, you will be warned, and if your conduct continues to be out of line, you will be asked to leave or escorted from the premises. For your information, these are all video. They're all available on YouTube. So if you want to see yourself later, for the good or the bad, you're able to do that, but just for your information, it is video. Looks like Houston Armstrong is our first appellant. Go ahead and introduce yourself when you sit down, and then your 3 minutes will begin.
Good morning. Do I address the board?
Yeah.
All right. Good morning, board. I'm Houston Armstrong. I don't know how much you need to know about me, but so I'm a new property owner. I just bought this home at the end of last year, so I'm new to all of this and property taxes and everything. But when I got the information sent to me for the property taxes, it just took me by surprise that it was, and I made a mistake. I was thinking it was over 60% of an increase. I made the mistake of doing my math wrong. It was about 40%. But even so, after getting some information from family and friends on how property taxes and things work, they were surprised to hear it was anything over 20. So a 40% increase seems pretty grievous to me for taxation. And I just wanted to see what I could do to bring that to what I think would be a reasonable amount based on, I don't know, I just wanted to figure out what I could do about it. Because 40% is more of an increase than any job is ever going to give you in a year's time. When I went to ask the assessor about it a few days after getting that letter, I got an enormous pushback when I just said, "Hey, I want to appeal this," and they kept trying to deter me from doing so and not tell me the next step on how to fill out that paperwork. So that was kind of odd. And they made I don't remember who I spoke with over there, but said that the reason it was so much this year is because it wasn't done in years previous. And I don't see how that should fall on me if things weren't assessed properly in the last couple of years. Why all of a sudden that should be my burden? If it's laziness or incompetence, why it wasn't assessed at proper values in the years past, I can't speak to that, but that doesn't seem reasonable for it to then fall to me all in 1 year. So
Okay.
that's
Questions?
Yes. We're here to talk about
Okay.
the assessments, correct?
Yeah, and I'll cover that.
Okay.
Okay. Your 3 minutes begin.
Okay. Mr. Armstrong is located at 805 South Arthur Street in Pocatello, and we have comparables here to show his values. The first comparable is his own property. He paid it's approximately it's still under approximately $73,000 from what he paid for on first comp, which is his. The second one is on East Lander, same year, same square footage, roughly pretty close to square footage. That one comes in at $241 a square foot. Comparable 3 is on East Bonneville, same year built, pretty close to same square footage. That one comes in at $142 a square foot. Subject property, we have it as $122 a square foot, which is lower than what he paid for it when he purchased it, like he did say. We have to be what the 100% market value is for sales. We feel that he's right there. In fact, he's a little low from what the comps are and the sales are showing. So that's all I have.
Okay. Do you have questions about what he just said?
no, sir.
Okay, commissioners?
When you purchased the property, I'm assuming that was an arm's length transaction, meaning that you weren't related or had an inside deal on the property?
No.
Okay, so if you paid $240 for the property, is that right?
25.
Yeah, $225. Okay. Okay. I have no further questions.
John? And just for information, we're not here talking about taxes, and you mentioned taxes quite a bit. So all we're talking about is assessed value.
Okay.
And then the other part is, as we talk about laziness and stuff like that, I let you go, but that's borderline of talking about personnel and people and stuff, and I let you go on that. So if you come back to BOE again, I won't allow that kind of conversation to go on. But just as I said, you purchased this house for more than you're assessed for. You're the one that makes the values go up. That's what they have to go on, is the purchase prices around here. So I'd make a motion that we go ahead and uphold the assessor's value, because it is well below what you paid for the property, and there wasn't a preponderance of evidence. So we have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So we upheld their values. If you don't agree with that, you're gonna get a letter here in a couple of weeks that's gonna say exactly what went on here at this hearing. And if you don't agree with that, you have the ability to appeal to the state, the Board of Tax Appeals, or to go to district courts. But as far as we're concerned, your hearing is over. Thank you. All right. Wigington? Please state your name, and then your 3 minutes will begin.
Okay, I'm Kathy Wigington, and we live in a double wide, it's a small double wide out on Mingle Lane. And we were questioning it because our home went up to $196,071. I did check a lot, talked to a lot of people on our street that have double wides. Ours does not have, it's on a foundation, no basement. And I talked to a lot of people on our street, and none of them went up except one person across the street with us at all as high. And of course, they didn't want me to give their names because they were worried about theirs going up. So I says, I won't do that, but I called everybody and nobody's went up as high as ours did. And we've lived out there for several years. It's a 1999. And I did, checking on it. When I called the appraiser, and the thing I got from the appraisal, well, I says, how did you figure this value? And he said, well, what we do is we just kind of go looking on all the mobile homes and things like that, because they're selling more mobile homes now than they're selling houses because of the values and, of course, the cost of houses and stuff. And I said, well, that shouldn't have anything to do with it. So I was just really questioning a lot of the value of it, because it went up almost $48,000. And it's the same as it has been. We haven't done any improvements. In fact, my garage needs improvements and stuff. It's a real small garage that's there. So we just had a lot of questions on it, why it would go up so high. And I didn't really feel that when he was telling me that, well, this and that. So I talked to a real estate agent. He did a couple comps for me. I looked at my appraisal from before, and I did go online and look at double wides that were being sold. Practically every double wide on our street is bigger than ours. So I just had some questions quite there, and I didn't think it was should be valued as that much.
Okay. Questions? Your 3 minutes begin now.
We just want to reiterate that we have to be at market value, and we did have multiple mobile home sales this year. Quite a few of them on foundations that were in and around the same year built. Maybe some of the ones on our own street are older, so they didn't increase as much. I'm not sure the situation on that, but in looking at our three main comparables that we submitted, all within the same year or similar year built. Hers is a 99, we have a 98, an 03, and a 1996. We go 5 years higher, 5 years lower to see, then we try and shoot for the middle, the median, and I'm looking at hers at 1,404 square feet. Our first one is 1,456. Is sold for 221.5 with the time adjust. It would come in at 239, 220 with a price per square foot of 122, and the subject is at $89 a square foot at her assessed value of 196 and $71. Our second comparable is on Josh, which isn't very far from there. It has a little bit more square feet. Sold for $260,000. Time adjust would bring it in around 296.4. And then the third one on Holly is a little smaller at 1,040. 205 is what it sold for. 229.6 would be the time adjusted value. All of them show that her price per square foot is actually lower than all the three comparables, the main comparables that we have for this one. We did time adjust her fee appraisal, even though it was out of our date range to use. We did time adjust that, and that would even bring her in, based on the market increase over the past few years, that would bring her in closer to 215. So we're even under what that time adjusted appraisal amount would be. So, and these are all on foundations, just like the subject, and so we would just ask that the current assessed value of $196,071 be upheld.
Questions about what you just stated?
I do have a question. What about the land on those other properties too? Because this includes the land, so I do have a question on that. How much land did they have compared? I have a 60 by 180 foot, is what my property is.
And they actually had smaller lot sizes.
Small.
And they were valued right in the same range that you were.
Yeah, we just kind of question that too. We live on a dead-end street, and of course Chubby doesn't do much for the street, so. But it's like a dead end, and we've had some of them sold, but they haven't been sold for that much in area. And so it is hard to find comparables because none of them were around our exact area and stuff. I did
Commissioner?
find some.
Commissioners?
No questions.
I'm looking at the parcel viewer and going up and down the block and just kind of comparing some of your neighbors, and you're right, some of them are not assessed like yours, but then there are others that are assessed in the same price range as you and things of that nature. So there is some equity that appears going on, and your lot is valued a little bit less than some, so you're not out of whack as far as land value for the rest of your neighbors. So at this point in time, I don't know if I have room to make an adjustment, Mr. Chair.
And this year, the state of Idaho sent us a letter in April and told us that we was not in compliance, that we have to have values within 90 to 110%. The goal is to have 100%. And we was in the 60 percentile on manufactured homes. And so they did take a jump this year to come in compliance, so the state doesn't come in and set the values for us. So just for your information there.
Mr. Chair, on parcel RPRCCPC 007600, I'd make a motion that we uphold the assessed value.
That's the wrong parcel.
Oh, sorry. What did I say?
You said CT something.
Oh, RPRCCPC 007600. Make a motion that we uphold the assessed value.
We have a motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So we did uphold their values, and like I said, you're gonna get a letter here in a couple of weeks. It's gonna say what happened. You have the ability to go to the state and appeal our decision, or to go to the district court.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, Andrew. Please state your name, and then your 3 minutes will begin.
Good morning. My name is Andrew McCon, and I am here just to discuss the land valuation of my property. For the last 4 years, roughly, that I've lived in that neighborhood, there's been a huge disparity throughout the time I've been there in the land valuations. For last year, for instance, lots similar in size to mine, one street down from me, were valued at over $40,000 less than what my lot was valued at. And I was here last year in front of the board stating the same case that I have today, basically that throughout my neighborhood there's a huge disparity. And it's very frustrating as a homeowner to be in a neighborhood where you can literally drive one street up from, or one street down from where you are, and have those lots that are similar in size valued at $30,000 to $50,000 less than the one that you're living in. So that being said, I don't know what property, what land valuations were for the streets around me. I just know what mine came in as. But it's still, the valuation that I've received this year is still almost $30,000 higher than similar sized lots one street below me. So I know the letter sent from the assessor's office with the valuations this year stated that they were working hard to bring those valuations into, more into line and make them more equitable. I don't know if that's actually taken place or not. Again, I can only see what value I was given, but all I'm asking for is just a fair valuation for the land for all the properties that are around me. I don't see how a case can be made to say that a lot of roughly a third of an acre on my street is worth $40,000 more than similar size one street away from me. So again, if they were brought into line, as the letter from the assessor's office stated that they were trying to do, then I'm content. But without knowing those assessed values, I really just, can't be comfortable with the assessment that I received. So.
Thank you. Questions?
Mr. Chair, may I interject here?
Yes.
I'm looking at the 2023 parcel viewer, which you're looking at last year, so it
Right.
doesn't have the updated values. And I'm going up and down your street, and every lot on there is now at the same value as yours.
The ones on Duskview and Andrew, they're all the same?
They are all at that 120,000.
Okay.
Identical to yours.
Okay.
So does that solve your,
Yeah, I mean, basically, as long as I've lived there, there's been basically like lots on Satterfield are like 77,000, and then lots on my street were 130-something thousand. And in between, it was, kind of splitting the difference, and it was just completely unfair as far as I was concerned. But if they're all lined up at that similar value, then that's basically what I've been looking for as long as I've lived there.
okay, well, they are there now.
Okay.
So, Mr. Chair, if you don't mind, I'd make a motion that we uphold the assessed value.
We have a motion. All in favor, or you want to say parcel number?
On parcel number RPGF 4002100.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So we upheld their values, and you will get the letter. States what went on and have the ability to build further. Thank you.
Thank you.
Looks like Amber.
Good morning, I'm Amber Jimenez, and I'm here to address my house. I have a few things, looking over my neighbors and my property. I have noticed that my neighbor next door has a house similar to mine, bigger garage area, and comes in about 63 less than mine. And I know we're not really talking about taxes, but there's difference is only 143 over the year. Mine went up $998, and nobody around my whole entire area has come close to $1,000 difference in tax over a year, over the jump of a year, which has really hurt me because I'm not back to work yet. And the neighbor right around the corner from me, that house I just talked about is also the same year built and everything. The one right around the corner from me was a 1998. That house comes in less value than mine, and it's about the same square footage and has a bigger garage, newer than mine. And it is also way less in the taxes range than mine, tremendously. And I have done no improvements on my home. Like I said in my statement earlier, I know we're not talking about that as well, but I haven't even fixed up my my property as far as my driveway. It's all cracked up, and I've got a 5-year-old and 2-year-old that would love to play there, but I'm nervous to even fix that up, because then that's she did improvements, type of thing, because just how it's been going up so much, it's just kind of making me nervous. and I've got, as you guys can see my paperwork, I've got some comparables. I'm just kind of curious to why, like, my neighbor right behind me, he's got a 2001 home, and like his taxes went up $9, but I'm just like, am I making up for the difference for the whole neighborhood? I'm just kind of confused.
Okay, and I'm just gonna say, we're not talking about taxes.
And
We're
I understand
talking
that.
about assessed value here.
Well, I understand that too, but I've also went over that, like, all the houses I've mentioned, I'm over, but yet same comparable or less of a garage or not as new of a home. And whatnot, so that's pretty much what I have.
Questions? Your 3 minutes begin now.
Okay, the subject property is at 1336 East Ridge Drive, and our three comparables we here have. First comparable is closest in size, square foot, year built, and pretty close proximity to the subject. It does have a double car garage, which does not change the price square foot. That one is on Jesse Avenue, 0.39 of an acre. She has, this is 1972, pretty close to this. It's a little less square footage. It comes in at $134 a square foot. Comparable 3, which is on Hyde Street, and this is a 1961 house, 1,080 square foot. That one comes in at $122 a square foot. Comparable 3, which is on Paramount, 1972, comes in at $1,164. Total is 2,240 square foot with all 3 floors. That one comes in at $144 a square foot. Just to make a note that hers did go down 1,858, I believe, to $56 from what the previous year. So hers did actually come down on the value, and all comparable. The land is all the same. Values of the land, all comparables, hers come in as the same as what hers is, and I feel she's right where she needs to be on that.
Okay. Questions about what he just said?
He says it came down, but it came down not very much. I understand that. But yes, I do have questions why, like I stated before, why everybody around me is less and then how mine went up a lot more. But I think you guys have my printouts that I made that look like this.
Mhm.
I highlighted everything, tried to make it easy. But
Yep, we have them. Commissioners?
Just give me a second. The house across the street from you, that's a split entry?
yeah, the teal one?
Blue maybe? 1335? You're 1330 or 1336, right?
I'm 1336, yeah. The street's kind of weird how the addresses are.
I understand your point about being different than the rest of your neighbors. As I'm looking at your neighbors, you are a little bit higher than those immediately around you. I'm just trying to understand the differences between the houses. However, the homes directly behind you, you're right on par with them. So, I don't know if we have,
And this is the third BOE in 5 years.
Oh, this is my second time coming in here.
Okay. You have a preponderance that you're feeling?
I'm not quite sure how her home compares with the others right around her. That's my concern. Market-wise, it looks like they're right where they need to be based on some of the internet sites. I don't know. You got anything?
Do you think it should be, is it questionable to be rebanded back?
Well,
I bought it for 152.
the land value went up 2,500. The improvements went down double that. So,
And the land values are okay. I don't have an
Yeah.
issue with that.
and the improvements went down from last year.
Mr. Chair, I think I would make a motion that we remand this back to the assessor for a second look. I don't necessarily disagree with the assessed value, but there's enough in her neighborhood there that makes me just take a second look.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So what they'll do is they'll come back and reevaluate it, and then it'll be brought before us with their recommendation if there's any changes.
Okay.
When that is made and done, you'll receive the letter like everyone else and have the ability to appeal further.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
All right. Mr. Ballard.
And before we start, I want to make a disclosure on this. I do know the appellant, and we were speaking on a different issue last week. And at the end of the conversation, he mentioned he was coming in front of BOE. I recommended he speak with the assessor, and then I relayed that information to the assessor. I don't believe that will impact my ability to look at this fairly.
Okay, thank you. State your name and your 3 minutes will begin.
Robert H. Ballard, 1818 North Mink Creek Road, south of Pocatello. Good morning. I'm here today to appeal the 2023 assessed valuation of parcel RPR 4013045-200, assessed in the amount of $76,692, an increase of 49.29% from the 2022 assessment. Not only is this excessive, but far above the recently completed sale of two adjoining parcels, which put the fair market value at plus or minus $18.30 an acre. Enclosed in my appeal are two 300-foot apart views with a black horizontal line marking the boundary and the arrows pointing east, showing the bulk of the property. The topography is slightly more extreme than the bulk of the adjacent sold parcel. The hillside has virtually no commercial value, and I request adjustment. I searched many unimproved hillside properties in the south end of the valley, and I couldn't find any where the taxes were anywhere near what I'm assessed at. That's all I got.
Okay, questions? Your 3 minutes begin now.
Yes, he is up Mean Creek. Our comparables are, the first one's gonna be on Gibson Jack. He's on 5.5, or the subject property's on 5.20 acres. Gibson Jack Way is on 8.72 acres on that. That land, we have at 178,388, which makes that 47 square foot. The next one is at 178 Mean Creek Road, 6.4 acres. That one comes in at 37 a square foot. And the next one is on, this one does not tell me where this one is at. It's in that, oh, let's see.
It's in that area.
It's in that area on South Fifth area out on the south end of town. Total of that one came in at 224,335, which makes it $1.04 a square foot. He had multiple parcels adjoining the one that he is appealing. I feel that that lot is buildable because he has property that is his own property that is contiguous parcels. I feel that what we have it valued at is what we need to be at for the requirements that we have to be at for the sales. And I did look at that land up there, and I feel that if you would uphold our values.
Okay. Questions about what you just said, stated?
Well, I don't hear very good. Did you quote some comparable parcels
Yes,
that are,
I did.
Okay.
could I have a list of those?
Discussion's right here. You always have to talk to the board.
Could I have a list of those before I go? Because I didn't hear what he said, but go ahead.
Okay. The board? Comments, questions?
Is there a building right on this parcel?
There should be. Should be a building right on it. It's 5 acres. And you own the acreage right around there, parcels right around this piece of property.
To the west, I guess. I don't own to the south, and BLM owns to the east.
So there's 9 different parcels right there that you own,
Yeah, but they're all pastures.
that are contiguous though.
I am not,
Okay,
I'm not questioning those.
okay. But they're contiguous, which gives you a
Yes.
better rate on all them properties. I'm just trying to make sure that what we have here as evidence is the same as what you say.
Yes, they're all contiguous.
Okay.
Well, the price on this one appears to be pretty consistent with the other lots that you own right there.
They're pastures, Commissioner, and developable.
Did you say indevelopable?
Well, they can be developed, put it that way. They're flat, they're semi-flat. This is very sloped.
But you could build on it. Looks like that lower half of that.
I disagree with that. That's a very large engineering project to develop that hillside.
But it does have a building right associated with that piece of property.
Pardon me?
It does have a building right associated with that piece of
I
property.
don't know
Well,
whether it does or not.
5 acres it does, so. Anything?
No, Mr. Chair, on parcel RPR 401-304-5200, I would make a motion that we uphold the assessed value at this time.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So we upheld their value. You'll get a letter here in a couple of weeks that's going to say exactly what this board decided. After that, you have the ability to go to the State Board of Tax Appeals or to go to the district courts if you don't agree with what we did.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, Larson?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. My name is Eric Larson. This is my wife, Daphne.
Daphne Larson.
Your 3 minutes will begin now.
I'd like to talk about my property at 1416 Cottage Avenue. You may remember I came before the board last year. My property is difficult to assess because it's by far the nicest house in the neighborhood. When I returned from my second deployment to the Middle East, I had some money. I built a house on property we already owned. And because it's a nicer house than the rest of the neighborhood on Cottage, it's probably difficult to assess. I contacted the assessor. They would not give me the comparables they used to come up with my valuation, citing some contractual obligations that they had. So I was left with searching the internet, and I've submitted, it didn't take me long to find properties that have more bedrooms, more baths, equal square footage, that are being offered for sale for less. Some of them have shown a price decrease on the websites. When I contacted the assessor's office, they were very helpful. And they said part of the reason that my valuation went up by 22% was because the board last year had changed the value that the assessor had, and because of that, they're going to raise it more. I felt that was unfair. And based on the website Realtor.com, which is kind of an arm, it's licensed by the National Association of Realtors, they say that as of May 2023, prices are trending up about 9% year over year. I got 22% increase. I feel that location does matter in home valuations. My neighbor has a junkyard, so I request that the assessor take another look. I don't know what comparables they're using, but I would like maybe take a second look at that. Thank you.
Okay. Questions? No. Okay, your 3 minutes begin now.
Okay, subject properties at 1416 Cottage Avenue. He stated we have to go by what is sold, properties that is sold for that time frame. Just to clarify that, first comparable sales is on Sonoma Drive. It's a 2006. His is a 2011. A little bit less square footage. Well, actually, total it's a little bit more. His comes in at 163. The subject property. The first comparable comes in at 148 per square foot. The next comparable we have is on Michelle Street, 2-story, and all these comparables are 2-story. This one's a 2006. A little bit more square footage total. That one comes in at 193 square foot. Comparable number 3, which is on Pocahontas Drive, comes in a little bit under the total, what his square footage is. This one comes in at 236. Subject property is a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, and it's surrounded by older homes. because home is unique, like he says, property for the area that it was built in. We did have to expand our search radius to find comparable sales. The comparable sales bracket, subject property and age and price per square foot, finished value showing that the assessment valuation in 2023 is in line with comparable sales for similar homes. He did call in. It was not me that he talked to, and he went over with one of the other appraisers. We feel that he's right where he needs to be, so we should hold our value.
Questions about what he just stated?
Yes, just so I understand how this process works. You said you look at sales. Is location considered at all in these assessments?
Location is, yes, but it is in comparable sales, and if we try to find a comparable sales as close as in proximity as yours, as his is, and if we have to, because like his is unique property, we have to expand out to find something that's as close as we can to his.
Okay. Commissioners?
On your appeal, you brought up Realtor.com and some of the home values on there that you used for your comparables. Did you happen to look up the value of your home?
No, sir, I did not.
Okay,
How
well,
do you do that?
right now, Realtor.com has your home market value of $736,000 or $366,000. If I use a secondary internet site, shows your values estimated at $792,000. And if I time adjust both of those back to January of last year, or January, that would put you at the price that the assessor has you at. So if I take the Realtor.com value of $700,000, adjust it back 10%, which would be about 2% a month, that gives me a value of $637,000, which is in line with what the assessor has you at. And so with that,
And somebody that you did talk to, because on our paperwork, there's a worksheet, and they come down, I mean, it's not much, but it's a couple $1,000s. And so it's at $635,538 right now.
okay. So, and they're right about the assessment, because you have to be brought up to market value every year. So even though we might have made an adjustment last year, which makes this year seem excessive, if you'd have stayed with last year's value, you'd be in line with that normal market adjustment based on what the market has done in the past year. So I see no compelling evidence to make a change, Mr. Chair.
A motion?
Mr. Chair, on parcel RPRPHOA 004701, I'd make a motion that we uphold the assessed value.
So we have a motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So the decision of the board has been to uphold that value. You do have the ability to appeal, either to the state or to the district courts after you receive your letter. All right, thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, you have 10 minutes.
Admins?
You have 10 minutes.
I have 10 minutes.
Yeah,
I got to run across.
okay.
Do I need to come back for that one, right, at 10?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I can take these.
Unless you want me to just do it from here.
I'll go for that.
Okay.
Are we still streaming?
Okay. You weren't sworn in, right?
I was.
You was? Okay. We're good? All right, let's go to Town and Country Mobile Home Park. This will be the first admin. so much, going so many different directions today. All right. And this is just like the one that we did Monday. That, and it comes back that you went through and you looked at all mobile homes, manufactured homes, and you put them in the different categories by age, and still brought us up in the county to about 92, 93%. So, other comments?
So, Mr. Chair, I'd make a motion that we add the packet as an addendum, and then we take the 26 parcels listed within the packet and uphold the assessed value.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, the next one, Peter Martin. There's 6 parcels. Comments on this one?
Looks like this is part of the equalization across those properties.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Mr. Chair, on the 6 parcels contained here, I would make a motion that we enter those as an addendum to the minutes and uphold the assessed value on all 6 of the parcels.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And Mr. Chairman, I'm
Does that work for you?
Okay. Let's go ahead and go to recess for a minute.